Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gone Fishing, the podcast where we leave behind the industry and focus on the creator. Games. Today's guest is Games Foundation. Games Foundation, how would you like to introduce yourself, and how, or in what game are we playing, and why did you pick it?
Hello, everybody. Evil Games Foundation here. The normal Games Foundation couldn't be here because we recorded an episode previously, but then fake Evil Faco took over and had to kill him. So now we only have Evil Games Foundation, Evil Faco.
Mwahehehe.
Anyways,
You should AI generate
here we are
everything.
in they should AI generate everything, and then the podcast ends. That's all it's about. We're just gonna talk about generative AI the whole time and why it's better than human creativity.
It's just more efficient. I have more time to work my
Exactly.
corporate job if I outsource my creativity to robots.
Exactly. All right, I have to introduce the game. Right, so this is Raise a Peter. I'm I'm not sure if you could tell that from what we're doing right now, but it's not what the game is that's important. It's what platform this is on, and that's Roblox, if you couldn't tell by the high fidelity graphics.
Yeah, I'm actually playing on my
Now, the reason I
PS6 right
chose this
now.
game is because okay, okay, minor blooper. I fell into the water. So the reason why I chose this game is because I think for me as a YouTuber, one of the biggest parts of I guess rather my identity, but my journey is my identity. As in, specifically, for years, struggled to like kind of get rid of the Roblox YouTuber label. I think is something that I would say is part of my YouTube journey, a really significant part of it. A part of it is like just in like a joking manner, as in a lot of my friends just say that because like, oh, I made like YouTube videos that were predominantly on Roblox. But at the same time, it is true in the sense that, well, basically, I think, let me think. I think in my top five most viewed videos, probably three of them are about Roblox. I'm having a hard time completely remembering, but I know for sure my most popular video, that one being the this game is pay to win, but its fans don't think so. Video that's about a Roblox game. That one has above 1 million views, and that's my most viewed video by far. And I think around that period, there was also a few other videos I made also on Roblox, and those also did really well. So for a time, basically most of my videos that were successful were Roblox videos. Now I'd say like there's like a pretty even split. There's like the snipers video, which didn't do amazingly, but it did get to I think 40K views, which in my eyes is a pretty decent success. I had the Tax Fraud Simulator 2 game devlog video, that one that has 400K, so I was happy about that one. And we of course have the PVZ video. That one is, I would say, like my first real like serious video in a way, because despite the fact that I've been on the platform for I think actually more than 10 years now,
You
I
started
don't
before
really.
me.
God damn. Really?
Yeah, yeah, because I think I started in like 20. I wanted to do YouTube, and I had some like really sparse things have been lost to the like canals of time. But I consider me starting YouTube and legitimately trying, let's say around 2018, because I uploaded a few videos before like the ones that are publicly available.
Okay, well that's almost like 10 years. I think you're pretty close to me, all things considered.
Yeah, but I'm like a million years older than you.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, because I'm like a nanosecond old and you're
And
billions and billions of years
uh,
old
yeah,
in my time.
I'm old as shit, and you're the youngest person ever.
I am the youngest person ever. You never guess how old I am.
3.
I'm 4 years old.
Whoa, that was
You are
awesome.
the youngest person ever.
Yeah, it is interesting that like you obviously are interested in Roblox, but you do kind of fight against the label of being a Roblox creator. Not in like a you're going out on public platforms and being like, guys, this isn't me. This isn't my art.
This
But
is my true self. I'm just LARPing. I've never played Roblox in my life.
you obviously have like a lot of fondness for Roblox, but you don't want to be like as associated with it creatively. Is there a particular reason why not? Like why you don't want
Yeah,
to be
okay.
beyond the fear of being pigeonholed? Because I also have that fear of being pigeonholed.
Right, I think yeah, that is like definitely one of the reasons for sure. For sure, it's that I don't want to be pigeonholed, but I don't think like the label itself would pigeonhole me because right, that's what other people would call me. My decisions on like what content I make would be the thing actually pigeonholed me. And so far, what I've been doing has been well, not Roblox content. Been trying to move away from Roblox content for quite a while now. But I think like a big thing that I want to say about like Roblox and like kind of like my thoughts around my identity around it is that like it is just the case that basically for almost my entire life, like the games I played were from Roblox because the one thing that's like really good about Roblox is its accessibility because you don't have to download any of the games. A lot of them are free and they're very low. There are very low requirements for your in terms of what computer you need, and you can actually even play on your phone too. There's that too, and because of that, it's kind of like I have fondness for Roblox in the sense that like it's kind of just part of my like childhood, but it doesn't go like further than that. And the reason why I made like Roblox videos at the start was just because, well, the things I could pull from to make videos in terms of games was, well, Roblox, because as I said, it has such a high level of accessibility, and I played it for so many years. And of course, I had a lot of opinions on many parts of the Roblox platform, and that would include specific games, and that's why like so quite a lot of the videos you see that I made were about specific games when it comes to my Roblox content. That being, uh, of course, D-Day, which is the most popular video that I talked about, and Isle. That's the one that's titled the Roblox shooter game where you can't aim, which the title has a bit of a story behind it, and also like it also is in a sense kind of misleading. But let's not get into that. Okay, let's avoid that. It's not really
You
part of the
clickbaited?
story.
You did creative dishonesty on YouTube, the most respectable platform?
I can't believe I did that. I mean, I think it should just take me out back and shoot me right now.
You know, I would agree with that sentiment, but it does make sense that cuz like a lot of like your opinions do start forming in those like years where you kind of establish your tastes. And since you had Roblox, you kind of had access to a lot of different video game experiences that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So it makes sense that for the sheer variety, you kind of did ultimately get attached. But that's not all you want to do, though.
Right, yeah, I should continue that. We should. I did kind of get distracted by the getting shot and killed and ending the podcast bit. So, after that didn't happen, guys. What do you mean I got killed? What do you mean there's an evil clone of me roaming around? That doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I'm the Real Games Foundation.
and in the process of how much we love AI, you can actually kill your podcast guests and then replace them with AI and continue the episode.
Yes, finally! Oh my god. Anyways, where did I leave off at? So it was right. So I was explaining that like a lot of my videos were about Roblox games because I had played them and I formed opinions. And so, right, so that's how I got started. And your question was that, oh, why do I like not like the label? Why do I fight so hard to like get rid of it? But also just like why I have like such a personal distaste of that label.
Yeah.
So like I would say that, let me think. I think okay, I'll split up into two sides. One side is my personal thoughts on the Roblox platform and Roblox games and the community itself, and then the YouTube side, right? The which it would include your point about me being pigeonholed into one topic. So, right first, so the side of like the platform itself, the community. So like right, as you know, Roblox doesn't have a great reputation, but of course that doesn't mean that like all content creators are bad necessarily, and that just making Roblox content is bad, but I kind of like so with all I said about like Roblox having great accessibility and that like I got to play so many games, probably hundreds, put thousands of hours into these games for free, and just like on my like iPad or my phone or whatever or my crappy laptop. With like all of that good comes a lot of bad. Not even just like with all like the usual thing that people bring up, like bad pla- um the bad platform moderation, the like the like the greedy decisions of like the people who run the company and whatever. Like that is of course all bad, but like everybody knows that, right? And like past that, like if you didn't play Roblox yourself, you wouldn't have any opinions on the games themselves. You would just say that they're really bad, and well, you'd be right, but I feel like people don't really understand or really get a sense of genuinely like how well, for lack of a better word, well, yeah, bad the games on Roblox are. Like usually like it's of course very low production quality, but that's usually fine if it means that like oh well people are just making games for fun, and that's why a platform like Scratch is great because well kids get to make games, the platform is free, the tools are really accessible, and like and of course like another thing that like Roblox is so like well known for is its game dev tools to that like facilitate multiplayer games because well they set up all of the server infrastructure for you. You don't have to like buy servers. They run them. You get to just make a game and everybody can play on it. Of course, well you have to write net code and everything and whatever and stuff that actually well I don't really know about so I can't really talk about it. But for sure it's really difficult. But it's still much easier than if you were to somehow like as yourself like some like 16-year-old kid who wants to make a PvP game that you and your friends play on Unity. Like you can't just do that in the same way you could do on Roblox. So that's why pretty much every game on Roblox is multiplayer oriented because that's what the game dev engine is made for. And because of that, like I would say that like that's like one of like the starting reasons for why actually the games are so bad. Yes, the tools are great; they facilitate multiplayer development, but as you know, multiplayer games for them to be profitable, they need to, and especially the free ones, right? On Roblox, as you see, they have to be well, live service. They have to continue generating revenue because, well, that's basically the only way you can make money if you aren't making a premium game, and there's basically no premium games on Roblox. And in fact, the problem is deeper in the sense that there are simply just so many incentives to making live service multiplayer PvP games, and then that leads to the worst aspects of live service games where people on Roblox they are heavily incentivized to make just like unbelievably like greedy microtransactions. It's like genuinely like the worst of the worst, and that's like what like I really dislike about the platform, the community, the games themselves. It's because there's just so much of the surrounding environment incentivized just well like bad game dev like stuff that I personally really dislike as someone who also does game dev himself. I've been like interested in doing game dev for a long time. I want to get into the game dev industry in fact, and I just really hate to see like first like so much talent seemingly go to waste on this platform where people are going to get burnt out because Roblox treats developers so badly, and also just like the fact that like I love making video games. I love video game design. It's so cool to me. And then like here are all these people who just like are actually just like cartoon villains. Make they just make games that just try to get as much money as possible from a predominantly child player base. There's similarly like almost no passion in like almost all of the front page games, the most popular ones that show up, and it's like just a really sad state.
It's quite literally child labor in a way.
Yes, that is like very much a huge problem where it's just like I'm sure like I'm sure like you probably watched the People Makes Games video, right?
Yes.
Or you just heard about yeah, exactly. So that is like indeed like a big problem, and I think it's great that like they gave insight to that, but like that's just like one of the many aspects and why Roblox honestly just kind of sucks in so many ways. But that like because if you don't play it, well, you don't know about it, and you also don't care because it doesn't really affect you. And then the people who would play are, well, they're kids. They don't really have the comprehension. They don't have the critical thinking skills, the experience, the knowledge to analyze all this and like realize that like, oh, you're like being nickeled and dimed and like being nickeled and dimed for all your money, like all the quote unquote fun gameplay is just addictive gameplay. It's so far removed from what I think is good game design. What game dev is all about as just like a creative medium. Even like compared to like so like even like AAA developers that people are like really upset about. At least the games they make have developers behind them who truly want to make a good game, even if like the game itself eventually like flops or whatever, or all these AAA companies do all these dumb decisions, at least the developers behind them themselves, just the employees, do make games for the goal of them well being fun. Well, basically because it's their job, but also because well, a lot of them are just passionate about game design. Because like game dev is not like a very easy career to get into.
Because you can say a lot about Concord, but you can't say it was lacking passion.
Yeah, because like of course it's like this is of course like a complete off topic thing, but yeah, like yeah, it always sucks like at the end of the day like the employees are like the game developers, right? The people who work at all like the people who don't have really any sway into like how the grand vision of the game is gonna go. They like obviously they suffer the consequences when a game flops because well they don't get a job anymore, and that really sucks. And despite whatever you say about the game the like the game's quality or what the company did, it just always sucks at the end of the days when employees just lose their jobs and passionate people don't don't like end up doing well despite their hard work, and that always sucks. But I think yeah, enough of that tangent. Like the point I'm making is that like Roblox in so many ways really upsets me, and as from the ways that people of course know that like how people make games reported that there's basically child exploitation going on because of Roblox's unfair payment like scheme, the fact that like it's just it's just such like a it feels like it just really sucks that it feels like the game's masquerading itself to be like an awesome learning tool when it's like very much just like a business that just happens to have these cool tools that are in them, but they're just surrounded by so much bad slop, basically. And so yeah, like I said, that is one half of the equation of why I really don't like the Roblox content creator label, because I just don't like all that stuff about Roblox games developers, the surrounding environment of multiplayer live service games being basically the most predominant way of making games because that's what makes money, that's what gets on the front page. There's not really any way to do it other than that. And so there's just like all that. And then of course you have the YouTube side, which I think also is just very important because like to me is it just feels like creatively limiting. Like obviously there's like a lot of stuff you can talk about on Roblox, and I think I could make good videos. In fact, that I have a lot of before like I started like branching out of Roblox, I had a lot of video devs on Roblox games. I would have probably been able to keep doing that and probably do better than I am doing now because well, I did get a lot of views on those Roblox videos, didn't I? So there's definitely a lot to gain there, but it felt creatively limiting because once I started playing games outside of Roblox, it just felt so like Roblox genuinely just felt so bland. I act like that is just the way I feel. After I started like basically having money to actually spend on games and whatnot and playing games outside of Roblox, it is such a insanely stark difference that I have basically not like gone back to Roblox and played seriously for actually like years now. Like
99 Nights
genuinely.
in the
I did
Forest
not
is
even
pretty
like
fun.
realize that. What'd you say?
99 Nights in the Forest is pretty fun.
Okay, yeah, there's that. Actually, nope. Roblox is the best platform ever. There's no problems whatsoever. And I
Dude,
take back all of what I said.
I had to do a double take when I saw 99 Nights in the Forest merch at Walmart.
Oh my god, what are they doing? To be fair, there's so much like Roblox merch I think out there because those games have gotten just so big.
Oh, 100%. But it does make sense that like you don't want to be creatively limited, and like while the Roblox was a core part of your past, but it's in the past now.
Exactly. I'm happy like that I got the views from it. Well, because I like money, but also because like valuable experience and everything, and like I do feel like very fulfilled by some of the videos I made. Like especially the Isle video, I felt like that was just like I think it was an accomplishment for me at that time, and still kind of is, even though I feel like I could improve on a lot. But I felt like that was going in the direction of what I want to do, which is well, just more general gaming related video essays rather than just have me complain about Roblox game being bad. And I kind of just lost my train of thought. I don't know, what were you talking about just now?
Essentially, just while the Roblox was important to you, it's in the past now.
All right, yeah, and I was saying like, oh, I was still like happy that I felt fulfilled by quite a few of the videos, and so yeah, the YouTube part of the reason why I don't want that label is well, I'm just trying to not be limited by it, uh, aka I don't want to be pigeonholed, but also because it's creatively limiting. Because I felt like if I kept making Roblox videos, I'd just be making them for the sake of growth, and I'd stop like being passionate about it because like I don't think there's like that much I can talk about on Roblox that like I think genuinely is like meaningful because it's just so easy to complain about Roblox games being bad, but like and I truly do believe that like a lot of them have problems with that, but I don't know like how much impact I can make just by complaining about it, and it just feels kind of like slop at some point. And I didn't want to go down that route. I want to like make more meaningful videos. I want to like I want to keep improving as a creator. I want to make things that people resonate with, and I think that just Roblox just really was not that avenue for me.
Yeah, and that makes sense. The thing that so we didn't actually talk about this before, because as you pointed out, this is our second attempt at an episode of Gone Fishing. I I I want to hear more about this passion for game development, and does it does it go with your passion for YouTube? Are they at odds with each other? Do you prefer game development? What got you into it? I know that a lot of your like identity and branding is the creator that you made for the game Tax Fraud Simulator.
Oh yeah, that's right. I sometimes I forget that my avatar is just Tax Fraud Simulator Bob. Right. So that actually is a really good question because I think like especially talking about like if they're like if they go in tandem with each other or if it's just like a separate hobby thing. I think obviously because I just made that game devlog video about Tax Fraud Simulator 2, it's obviously connected in some way because well I can make game devlog videos. But I think the connecting thread is just the ability to create something that people like. That's I remember like very vividly that when I started game development, which was basically I think 10, maybe it could be even younger. When I think my mom like enrolled me in some like coding classes, but I did and we just like learned Scratch. And I
That's
think
actually
like
really cool.
and so like basically when I started like getting interested in game development, I think the first things that I thought was that like I really want to make something that other people enjoy. People like playing. It's like I guess it's kind of just like me being a people pleaser in a way. I guess I feel that's kind of the thing that like. But like I take I'm happy when like other people like look at the thing I made and they're like, oh, this is so cool, and I'm having so much fun. And so and in a way like that's what games and YouTube videos both do. entertainment at the end of the day. So they're both things that are supposed to make people, you know, have fun basically. And they're both just ways that you can creatively express yourselves. And like maybe it's just because like maybe it's just because it's like you're making like a thing. Like it's instead of like cause, cause, cause you could like ask like, oh, what makes a difference between uh what's the difference between like making YouTube videos and any other entertainment industry or thing or and same goes with game development. And am I lagging out?
No, you're good.
Okay, I don't know. Your fishing rod is floating mid-air, and I thought I thought my
Okay,
Wi-Fi died for a second. I was kind of scared.
okay, that explains why nothing was biting. Because on my screen it was in the soup. It was in the drink.
The soup, the drink.
I could be hip.
I think I think salt water would be pretty delicious. You think? I think I could die for some salt water right now, for a whole gallon right now, and immediately die.
I just want to jump in the
It sounds
ocean
pretty
and
good.
open my mouth.
Okay.
I do think that a lot of creative mediums are a lot closer than people like than I think a lot of creative mediums are a lot closer and similar than people who don't make stuff think. Because it is like a lot of times it is that process of just being like, I want to make this thing. How do I learn how to make this thing? And then you just kind of piece it together from there. So I do see how it can connect, and I also think it's why a lot of YouTubers don't just make YouTube videos.
Yeah, I think totally. It's just because it's like what you just get to make things, you get to be creative, right? You get to express your ideas and just make cool things. And also because you see other people making such cool videos, such cool video games, it's just like, dude, I could do that. I could do that. I could be as cool as that person and make another cool thing just like theirs. I think like also just thinking about it, I think the specific reason why like I took up game development and YouTube video creation is because both of them
You wanted
in like
every
the past
long time hobby that you could get.
I was collecting them all like Pokemon cards.
You wanted to see results for each creation as slow as humanly possible.
Oh my god. Actually, that's funny that you mentioned it because like another thing is that they both do take astronomically long periods of time to create a finished product. But also like the interesting thing that I was going to bring up is that like I think the reason why I got into them is because the barrier for entry now is like actually quite low for both of them. Very they've gotten very accessible. Yes, that's right. That's the word, accessible. It's very easy to pick them up because there's just so many people making them. There's so many resources to learn, and they're like basically all free. It's kind of crazy. Like I don't think I spend. I think I've barely spent any money on like making YouTube videos and game development. I think the only money I spent would be like my microphone,
Uh,
like purposely for YouTube videos. And you could even say that's just like a quality of life thing because well, everybody can just get a microphone because then you can sound clearer when you're talking to friends or
oh
in games.
God, I wish the only money I spent on YouTube was a
Oh yeah, the
microphone.
really cheap camera, the camera that you promised you would never
Oh
buy ever again.
God, I wished
I completely forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
every video costs so much money.
Rico, you want a word of wisdom? You can't spend any money if you don't have any money. You should put it all in black on a roulette wheel.
Dude, how come we can't do Gone Gambling and we just play gamble with your friends?
There's no fishing. There's no fishing.
Dude, I'm fishing for the jackpot, baby.
Oh, Rico, please, we have to have some money left over to buy dinner. Please don't put it on the roulette wheel, please.
I'm just saying, you don't lose money until you walk out of the casino in the red.
Oh, oh, I can already imagine the pit with the body bags with the henchmen surrounding it.
Oh yeah, I'm really bad at that game.
Yeah, I haven't been able to win that whatsoever. Kind of weird.
But yeah. So, was there what got you into indie game creating? Because again, we've talked about like a lot of the YouTube stuff before, so I guess that's why I'm not like leaning as into it this time around. But what got you into
Right,
game
right.
development of all things?
Yeah, I think okay. So right, I
And
explained how
and
basically
and
when I
what do
was
you want to
10,
get out of
the
it?
coding
What's
lessons,
your dream with it?
Scratch. Oh, oh, right, right, right. Right. So, right. So beginning was coding lessons by mom, Scratch. I want to make games. Okay, I make games now. So like, so let's. So where am I at now, and how did I get there? So let me think
And what
just
do you
for a
want to get
second
out of
to
it? Like what's
recall.
your
Yeah, right. And what do I want to
dream?
get out of it? The dream. I think it's okay. Actually, I'll just answer that one first. So like, of course, there's always the really, 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 really tiny chances where it's just like, okay, maybe someday I'll just make some. I'll be Toby Fox. I will make Undertale. I think I can do that totally. Ooh, I'll be a millionaire, a bajillionaire. I will make so much money. I will be so famous. I will be John Indie Game.
Yo,
Except, it's like that's never happening. You basically those people like Toby Fox or he was the guy who made Stardew Valley. I don't know, just like because there's like a few examples that people like bring up that people very admirable people, very like awesome people who just like went crazy, crazy with the game development and made this smash hit that basically redefined the entirety of just the video game space and became titans in this like creative medium. And yes, they did happen, but I think I was watching some video and someone said they were what do you call it, unicorns? I don't know. It's like some term. It's just basically like the reason why like they're so super successful and why like people always talk about it is because well they're so rare. It's like it never happens. So the realistic the realistic journey and the plan to like going into game dev is not to become that person because of like they had so much going behind their success those unicorns and but also like people don't see that like how much preparation they did or how much knowledge they had beforehand how much like just how special they were, just how much knowledge they already had before actually getting their success that like it's just unreasonable to chase that success. And of course it might seem obvious on paper. So then what is like a realistic goal? So like I think for like the longest time I actually didn't really know what like career I kind of want to do, but like for like right now I basically can say that I'm very much like wanting to become like a game programmer. I want to like work in the game dev industry. And then on the side, I want to keep making games myself as an indie game dev. And unfortunately, it is like kind of very difficult. There's a like it is a very sought after career, and there's like and people obviously like hear always hear about stories about like oh crunch and mistreatment of workers and whatever the hell Activision Blizzard was doing that one time, and these
that one
layoffs
time
and
they
companies going
proceeded to
down
stop.
and their entire lifetime. The entirety of EA, the entirety of whatever, just like just all these stories about like oh how bad it is to be a game dev and well yeah well it's true though those stories are indeed true. There's but it also does not mean that like everything's bad with it. It's also like a bit reductive to say that oh becoming game dev's terrible because of these stories. Like yes, what happened to those game devs were terrible, but that does not mean like being a game dev is terrible. Like I actually I think I was like trying to find YouTube videos about like game dev and like how people got into the game dev industry, and there's lots of cool videos about people how they like built the ways to built the career towards becoming a game developer, eventually actually working in the industry. But sometimes like I saw like a couple of videos that are just like basically well I just said oh it sucks to be a game dev. This is why being game dev is terrible, and it's just and I didn't like those videos because I felt like I felt like that's such a disservice to like what being a game dev is actually like, and also kind of felt like fear mongering. And
I feel like this is
like,
also something that kind of happens with YouTube or content creators a lot, where where it's like it's like that that one curve meme where it's like person one says
oh, yeah, like
something and
the
then the
normal
curve
curve with the yeah.
yeah, and it's like oh dumb person says this, normal person says this different thing, but the smart person says what the dumb person said. it's kind of like, oh, being a content creator is like mostly fun and passionate, and then there's like it's actually really grindy and miserable, and then it goes back over to it's like being fun, passionate, where you hear so many people, and not to take the talking stick from you, but there's like so many YouTubers that are like, yeah, I actually work a million hours a week. I don't know the last time I got a day off. This isn't as fun as I wanted to. I'm worried about this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, yes, you do have to, work more hours than you probably would at a standard job. There's a lot of building. You're not guaranteed to be able to keep what you built because like the platform can be a little unpredictable. But while that's true, it also ignores the fact that while you are working, you're getting fulfillment. You're like 20 hours working on a video doesn't feel as soul crushing as a couple of hours at Walmart. And like I feel like
It's so true.
a lot of these discussions about like, oh yeah, here's how bad this creative job actually is, and it's like you're kind of, well, nothing you're saying is inaccurate. I think it's almost a sign that maybe something has to change behind the scenes for you, because it's so rewarding and fulfilling to even make something that doesn't do well, because if you fall in love with the process to the point where it may, like, yes, it is work, but you love it so much it doesn't fully feel like work. And I it feels like a lot of like creators that are burnt out are the ones that come out and talk about what it quote unquote really is like, and it's not the full picture.
I think yeah, I think that's definitely like a really good point that like yeah, it's like a bit of a survivor bias thing where it's just like of course the people who would complain are the people who are like but who have had it bad or just aren't the heart isn't in it. But although I do have to say like actually like the thing I was bringing up was that like it's people like from outsider perspective who don't do game development or don't actually work in the industry and like giving these really generalist reductionist takes about like the entire industry. And because I think like because like when it comes to like want to do game dev, like I've have put a lot of thought into it. I've talked to people who have been in the game dev industry. I've made games, of course, and I've looked into it and everything. And there's like, of course, you always have to take a level of caution when it comes to doing a career that has the that has all these like common downsides that happen in that job and nowhere else. But of course, if like for me, like of course I've considered all of these, but like I still want to do it because well I've taken so much time to consider it, and it's like what I want to do. I spent so much time enjoying making game dev. I've talked to people. I've considered different options and everything, and well I ultimately still want to continue with this path forward. And it's completely fine if other people don't want to, and if other people tell stories about like whatever happened here and here. But I think my point is that like in general, sometimes it feels like people don't understand. They don't have enough knowledge, or they just don't empathize enough with the developer perspective in a way. And like I sometimes see like people when they like give criticism to a game, or they want a certain thing in a game and they want it to change in certain ways. I think some people just don't have they don't have the nuance. They don't give enough nuance in like those ideas, and they don't really understand like the game dev process in the same way that a lot of people don't understand the YouTube creation video process. And so they don't their like discussion of YouTube is not as nuanced as as it should be.
Yeah.
So I think I should reel it back into like because that was like kind of a massive tangent. Oh wait, I get it. That wasn't even
Wait, I get it
that was
now.
that wasn't even intentional. That was like a massive tangent because like also like it wasn't even like that crazy of a big deal. I just wanted to talk about how it was like a small pet peeve I had.
Now,
when I saw
this
those
this
videos.
is
But
all about your relationship of being a creator. So there is no such thing as off topic in Gone Fishing.
true, true, true. But I do want to like talk about now like what happened in between when I was 10, started wanting to do game dev to now. Like, because I think it's just interesting to talk about what I've done so far. So for like first like I think I would say 6 years probably because I don't think I was very good at game dev as basically any child would be because I was basically just making scratch games, really really simple ones that were very very bad, but I had fun with them, and I think that's what was important. I think that was such an important step to like finding out my passion for game dev in the same way that I found my passion for making YouTube videos because I also started making YouTube videos a long time ago when I was really young and then kept making really really bad YouTube videos until eventually I started making good YouTube videos that I was proud of. And that's the same thing that happened with game development. I had lots of fun making games even if they were bad, and eventually I would say about let me think because like in the same way like I would say that my first serious YouTube video is the Plants vs Zombies video. My first like serious game would be funnily enough probably Tax Fraud Simulator, which is kind of silly to think about it, but the reason why I say that is because the the thing that was made for it was actually for a hackathon, which is basically just a competition where you program something. But for some reason, this hackathon they just let me make a game, and so I made Tax Fraud Simulator, and it was really, really, really bad. It was still made in Scratch. I had like some plans for making it like some kind of I guess it's just like a simulator game. I don't really know because like basically I just wanted to make it's a game but you commit tax fraud but like what does that even mean? I didn't even know anything and I was I think 15 or 14 when I made that game.
You had to think about how you're turning an idea like that into a gameplay mechanic. Like,
Yeah,
more
exactly.
consideration
And
went into than just whatever's fun about the process.
and it's really funny like looking back at like the reckless abandon I had and how naive I was thinking that game, but I ended up having to really, 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 really like scope down because the competition lasts um I think it lasts like 1 week. Usually, like hackathons are very, very quick. They don't last very long. Sometimes it's just a single weekend. And so I think that's when I started like really learning what game dev is about. Because a really, really important thing about game development is understanding like that you don't know anything. Because I don't really have a better way to put it. And the reason I say that is because especially in game development, it's just you're so prone to not understanding how much you don't know, and that in combination is compounded by the fact that in game development when you don't know what you're doing making a game gets harder and harder and harder exponentially as you make it as the size of the game grows because all your previous mistakes build up making it more and more difficult to keep making the game and that doesn't really happen with any other like creative medium. If you make YouTube videos and you're bad at making YouTube videos, you make mistakes early on. It doesn't matter because the video is already done. You can't like if you make a bad edit in your intro, that isn't going to somehow make editing the rest of the video difficult. And if you make like if you say you drew something, right? If you were an artist, if you draw something bad, doesn't mean that like yes, like okay, overall it would make for a bad drawing if just one thing was terrible and everything was kind of okay. But that doesn't mean that like if you messed up one thing, suddenly the entire rest of the drawing is somehow just more difficult to draw because of that one mistake. And and the reason why this is the case in game development is mainly because of the fact that A, you have to do programming and lots of it, and B, because making games is basically just making a bunch of systems that have to work together, that have to be able to be modified constantly and keep growing as the game grows. And because of that, everything is interconnected and everything will affect everything else. So if you write bad code now, you will suffer for it later. very dearly, and it is very hard to understand that when you are a beginner. And even now, when I say I'm like decent at game dev. I've made multiple games that I'm pretty proud of. I've won game jams before that. That's like basically game dev competitions. Even now, it's still so easy to underestimate the work because there's so much that goes into game dev. And I say all that right. This was all just context for what was so important about that first game I made. Well, not the first game, that game I made for the hackathon, the Tactron Simulator, because that's when I really started learning. Okay, I need to like lock in. Basically, I need to realistically scope things out. I need to be a really good planner. I genuinely need to just learn more and get better at learning because you need to learn so much. And then after that, I think this was so I think I was 14 or 15 when I made that game. Then I think when I was 16, I then entered another hackathon, and that was, as some people who watch my channel know, would be I made a game where you fight the IRS in Scratch, and that was Tax Fraud Simulator 2. And what's really cool is that this is one way that doing game dev and YouTube directly connected. As I said previously, I made a game devlog video. That's basically the most direct connection you could have between the two. And and there's a lot to say about the game, but I think the best thing is that it was just genuinely like a game, and like kind of a fun one at that. I've I've like gone back, and every time I've like play tested or whatever, I've actually like found myself getting lost playing it because it's actually fun, and I've seen other people play and have fun, and that's just such a cool thing. And it harkens back to what I said about like just creating things that other people enjoy and find cool. That what like brings me fulfillment in doing YouTube and doing game dev. Right
Yeah,
now, after Tactical Simulator 2 is sorry, against
yeah, no, no, no. I was just saying, like, yeah, seeing all the pieces come together. Go ahead. You had more?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought. Sorry, I thought you were saying. So I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
All right, so Tax Fraud Simulator 2. That was when I was around 16. I think that was 2023. Then, uh, I think after that I competed in another game jam. It was hosted by this YouTuber called Pino Prime. He's also a game dev YouTuber, and I just kind of made a really silly clicker game that was themed around beating up the YouTuber and his friends. Well, not his friends. His friends would beat him up, and you would beat him up with a baseball bat, and you would send a nuclear warhead as the final upgrade. So, pretty cool game. It wasn't that crazy of a game. It was just like another thing I kind of made on the way to on the way of like my game dev journey. And then I think my next big project, I think the one that I think is like basically my best game to date would be. Well, actually, I can't actually say it because it was for a school. It was a school project, and if I say the name, then people will search it up and then find out my real name in my school. So I'm not saying it, fortunately. But it is a tower defense game with a super cool mechanic that nobody has ever done before, where you get to build the path yourself instead of there being a preset path. No one has done this ever. But joking aside, it was pretty cool to make because like any small like progress you make is always good. And I think by the time I had made this game, I did not like have any. I think like out of the like all the games I made, I didn't have any like super unique and cool ideas, and this was like one step to like making something that like was unique instead of just basing off of games I'd already played. Because Tax Fraud Simulator 2 was basically just kind of an amalgamation of all the wave-based shooters I had played previously, and just like all the common things you might see in games for like upgrades and a shop and whatever. Just basically, there was nothing truly special about it other than it was about tax fraud, and it's kind of funny, I guess. But I was generally just like so proud of this game I made because outside of Tax Fraud Simulator 2, which I had worked on with my friend Kevin, I did not work in a team previously before that, and I really enjoy working in a team for that game because I had honestly previously kind of feared that when I worked in a team that I felt like I couldn't contribute that much. That like, oh, if I, oh, I'm kind of bad at game dev, so therefore, like, I don't want to like drag down a team or whatever. But like, given that like I kind of had the privilege that at that by this time I was like pretty decent in game dev, so and also there were 5 people on the team, so like I couldn't possibly have been like there couldn't have possibly been even that many people that outclassed me, and that were just like mogging me in the game dev skill. So, and honestly, like it's also just fine to like not be good at game dev when you're a team because for that school project it was just basically for fun.
And you're kind of covering each other's weaknesses. That's the point of a team. It's
Yeah,
division of
exactly,
labor,
exactly,
so you guys can play nothing but to your strengths.
exactly. That's one thing that's great. But I think what I most enjoyed was the fact that I was coordinating with other people, that I was coming up with ideas with other people who were just like also passionate about game dev, and specifically we were passionate with the same game. So like it was really fun to just talk with them, to come up with ideas, to work with them, to realize this really cool finished game eventually that we were just genuinely proud of making because well we put a lot of hard work into it and we were really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
And that was actually I didn't mention when it was. It was actually I think it was actually last year. So basically that is my most recent complete game. And so I've made like a really bunch of small games. If you ask me how many games I made, I would say like technically I've made like probably over 100, but like 99% of them suck. And then you have 3 games that are like pretty good, and then like maybe 3 more that are kind of okay, and everything else is scrapped projects or whatever. And that's just kind of how it is with game dev. Like to reflect like on like what I've done in game dev, I'm like I can very much say like I'm like still very passionate about game dev. I love doing it. Like every time I take a break from game dev, either because like, but mostly because I'm usually busy and making games takes a lot of time. But every time I go back in it, I just keep rediscovering that like, oh yeah, no, I actually love doing games. And funnily enough, it's kind of the same with the YouTube videos because every time I go back to doing YouTubes, I'm like, actually, wait, I actually love doing this. This is so cool.
Yeah, once you
That's what's
build
so
up that
awesome about these
momentum
two.
of remembering that you love it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I always like, I always like wish that I was like, oh, I wish I had done even more than I have done now. I wish I had, oh, I made even more games. I wish I had picked up, I wish I had picked up Unity, like well, Unity's a like game engine,
Yeah.
because previously I was using Scratch and and Unity's like kind of like actually good one, not a kid's not a kid's website. And
Unity's that's one of the tools that the big boys use.
yeah, basically it was like a really big step up, and so yeah, I wish I'd picked that up early. I wish I'd made more games, but you know you can't change what the past. You can't change. You can only look forward. You can only look forward. You can't change the past, Faco.
That
That means all
is
those murders you committed, you can't do anything about them.
okay. That was done ironically, therefore can't be used against me. But with that note, I think that your video game making timeline, I think might be a good place to cap this episode off of. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Foundation, if that's even your real name, which I doubt. Uh, please, Mr. Foundation was my father. Call me Games. If do you have any advice for any aspiring creatives that haven't started yet? And this could be for YouTubers, this could be for people who want to get into game design, or this could just be for people create aspiring creatives in general. Do you have any advice for people who haven't gotten started yet?
I think in terms of like pragmatically, like oh, like what would actually make you like succeed or whatever. Like if someone asked me like, oh, how do I get good at this? I think it's funny when people like just ask, oh, how do I get more views on YouTube? Because that's like it's kind of like saying, oh, how do I run fast? You run more, you practice running. But of course, like that's not what people actually mean. They just mean like they're just like they're just like new. They're confused about YouTube. They want to be successful, and I think like it's so hard to give like pragmatic advice in terms of like, oh, what do you actually put in practice? Because it's like the thing is like you just have to do it. You have to practice. You have to put the time and effort into it to getting better, and asking how to get more views is a bit of a funny question because it's so hard to answer. Without just saying like, oh, you got to practice this, practice video editing, practice thumbnail creation, practice doing voiceover, practice scripting. You got to practice all of it. Just got to do it to get better. And in game dev, I think yeah, actually yeah. So like in terms of game dev, like I think the best advice I could give would be in regards to what I said about like knowing that like you have to realize that you don't know so much about game dev, and that you need to be very realistic in your scope. But it's also just very common advice. There's always that very common advice of make small games, make really small games because that's how you get better at game dev. So I would say that too. Um, I wouldn't like the things like I wouldn't have any like crazy like philosophical like takes or whatever about like oh something like oh always be sure to be true to yourself or whatever, because like I mean yeah, I agree like do those things, but like I'm not a really I feel like I'm not like crazy thoughtful guy myself. I don't think I have those kind of Master Oogway type quotes in me.
You don't think, therefore you aren't.
I don't think. Wait, who's talking? Who's talking on this podcast right now? Who's
Uh,
Faco talking to right now?
the
There's no one.
AI I generated to impersonate you after we shot you several
You
times.
actually, you shot me at all the clones that you killed because they weren't They weren't. They weren't. They didn't want to be. They didn't want to participate. I mean, just kind of killed them. I don't know why you did that. It was kind of.
It was for a bit. It was for a bit, but I forgot to film, so we got to scrap it, unfortunately. But I do I do think there's a time for like philosophical advice of like, be true to yourself and like find a way to make it work. But sometimes there is the time for the pragmatic advice of, dude, just do it.
True.
But
True. Yeah, and in that case, then yeah, I guess for game dev, I would say like be very realistic. Make small games. Very realistic. Make small games. Scope down. Realize that it is so easy to underestimate the work it takes. And for YouTube, yeah, I guess the thing that I think I've always been telling new creators that like yeah, you just gotta practice more. It's YouTube is a multidisciplinary field. You need to get good at lots of things. You need to constantly keep improving. You need to make a dedicated effort to improving if you want to see success.
I, I do think that that is a good place to end it. Where can people find you?
Final word, I take back everything I said. I love generative AI, and see ya, everybody.
Okay, I'll put the link of your YouTube channel and anything else that you want to publicize, like where to find any of your games if you have them public. I will put that in the description below.
Oh yeah, right. If you want to play Tax Fraud Simulator, that is on my Scratch profile. If you want to play Tax Fraud Simulator 2, that's on my itch.io profile because hilariously enough, Scratch took down my game because I'm pretty sure it's because of the guns. I think Scratch probably didn't like that. It was honestly a risk making a game with that. If you want to play this super secret game I made for my school project, give me $1 billion, or just stalk me until you find all my real life info, and then use it to only play that one game, and then say nothing else to anybody. And in the future, I probably make more games and post them on itch.io. So I think that's part of the main place that you should see my games. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is of course Mr. Beast.